Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today we are getting the car prepped for toge, which unfortunately means pulling the transmission in the car. I've been having this clutch issue where my clutch seems to go out when the car, I'm not really sure how to describe it. Basically, my clutch seems to work when the car's cold, but then once the car warms up, my clutch stops working. As in, like, it won't release. So it hasn't been too bad at some of the recent events since they're dry or wet events. And because they're wet, I don't need to shift as much, so I can kind of just leave it in gear and it more or less works. But I need to get it fixed before the toge event. So, transmission's coming out. I've already kind of started removing some stuff, but we'll get some more out. We'll get this thing out and see if we can find out what's wrong. All right, guys, update here. So we got the transmission out, and I think I found my problem. So the clutch is missing all of this material here, and a friend of mine pointed out that this clutch is actually bigger than the disc. So it may have actually been like either contacting something, or either way, it's like not really the right size. This is actually a remand clutch from TN Clutch, and they actually gave me a whole new disc, so I think something's just inherently wrong with this disc. So I have another one that actually came with this that I originally had pulled out, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick that in and button everything up, and hopefully that fixes all of my shifting issues that I've been having. All right, I'm not sure where I left off on this video, but the clutch is fixed. So I've driven it around a little bit to like AutoZone and stuff, and it seems to be doing a lot better. I don't have any of the shifting issues I used to have, so that's sick. So I think that that clutch disc I had was just not actually the correct clutch disc for that setup. Long story, I'm not sure if I went into it, but it's fixed now. So that's cool. I'm gonna try to street drive the car a little bit more in the coming weeks before DA, just to kind of, I don't know, work out a couple of any of the kinks that I kind of overlooked in the just because I've only been really bringing the car to the track. Anyways, in more interesting news, I got a new seat. Actually, a bunch of new seats. It's a bit of a saga. I bought a pair of seats, but then they didn't fit, and then I ended up trading those two seats to Nelly for essentially this weird combination of seats. So this is an OG Bride Zeta 1. That's an NRG that we basically are using for the pads, because this is a fake Bride that was missing the pads, so we just took the pads from that one. Anyways, so I'm gonna replace my driver's seat with that one, with this. It's a Bride Zeta 1 OG unit that just needs a little bit of fixing up, and gonna like paint the seat cushions to bring them back to black, and then I'm gonna paint this old knockoff Bride to be black again. First things first, I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum these seats out because they're a bit of a mess. All right, guys, a little bit of progress. So we've got material, a hole, some of these little pins, and a thing of upholstery thread. And so I think we have what's going to start to be a plan, where we're gonna essentially put a piece behind this and essentially make a patch panel. So cut off all of this frayed stuff so that it's nice and clean. I'm gonna try to use the pins to pin it in place. If all that goes well, it should be a pretty clean and seamless thing. We should be able to sew it all together and make a nice little patch panel, and let's see how well I can figure this out. quick update. So I've started here and I made it there. So a solid like 3-4 inches. And quite a bit to go. So this may take a while, but I think it's actually turning out pretty decent. It looks like this little bit, so this area just kind of stretched out quite a bit. And then this area here, I think we can pull the material together in order to stitch the two halves together. Here, there's gonna be a gap, so we'll just do our best to sew the edges down all the way, and then there'll just be this backer that you can see. But otherwise, I'm gonna continue the stitching up this seam here, and then essentially go around the sides of the patch all the way back around, and then we'll do basically a loop around the opening and sewing this stuff together, and then we'll be done. Maybe trim the back. Sick. All right, it's another day. It's taken me a while. I had to move the whole setup over here, as sitting down like that is not something that I can do anymore. I am getting a little bit too old for that, so I had to go for a more ergonomic position. So overall, feeling a whole lot better now, but I've got a lot more stitching to do. So there's that. Overall though, it is turning out pretty well. It's probably really noticeable on camera. I'm hoping that once I get done that it won't be really noticeable in the car with how everything's sitting. So we'll see. But for now, I'm just gonna keep going. I've learned some new stitches. I had to look up some YouTube videos on how to do stitches, because apparently what I was doing was probably really strong, but completely overkill for the stitching stuff. So keep going, I guess. So here's the kind of the half finished product. So this didn't end up coming out as nice as I wanted to, but it'll be fine for what I need it to do. I'm probably never going to notice it when it has the straps over it, since that's really what all that wear is from the straps. You can kind of see how this side's starting to thin out as well. But yeah, this one came out pretty decent. Just a nice little patch, but I did that after I did this, so I basically used all the learnings from that to do something much smaller. Oh well. Now a few more things, and then the seat will be ready to be put in. Hey guys, next up we have this fake bride. You gotta get this set up. So you can see the pads are from the NRG seat, which is over there. So they are quite a bit darker than the rest of the seat, as the rest of the seat's heavily faded. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna fabric paint it. So I'm gonna do my best in order to mask all this off to kind of keep that kind of clean and white. But worst case scenario, we can just go over that. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a fake bride seat. And so hopefully I'll end up replacing that with a real seat at some point. So let's get after it. This is kind of the finished product here. So it's not perfectly dark. I think I definitely could have done a few more coats, especially, so this used to be gray. But overall, not a bad little transformation. The masking job did pretty good. You can see where I missed a little bit. But but it definitely will work. Looks a lot better than it did. Sick. All right, next up, we gotta take this seat out, and through the power of YouTube magic, all I have to do is slip these guys through the holes and lift this thing out. Nice and easy. All right, guys, another update. So it's the next day. So yesterday, we got the driver's seat in, made it partially through the way of getting the passenger seat in, but I ran into a host of issues. So I ended up stopping filming to try to knock some of these things out. All right, let me pop this into the wide. Cool. So first things first, the mount that I used to mount the seat is the one that was on the driver's side. I switched to a destroyer die one on the driver's side. Anyways, the holes don't match up completely, and it actually kind of messed up one of my bolt holes over there. Thankfully, I was able to get it tight, so that's good. But I don't want to do it to this side, so I got to pull this mount off and modify it. Second thing, oh man, it's gonna be hard to see this. So these taco plates is what I call them, these little reinforcement plates here. So there's one, this guy right here is actually in the way of one of the straps. So I'm gonna have to cut that out a little bit to allow the strap to essentially go through it, because otherwise you can't align the seatbelt at all for the passenger seat. So that's cool. And then the last thing, so I just got done, I pretty much spent most of the day just trying to get this seat in, and I mounted it off. So now my door doesn't really close. So it's a lot worse than it was before. And so I thought the seat was just wider than the old one, but I measured it, it's all right. So what I think it is that the seat is more or less shifted towards the door, since there is a bunch of slots in the mount itself. So I need to basically unbolt this entire seat and then move all the mounts over and then retighten it down, which is kind of a pain because it basically sits, the seat itself sits on the bolts in the back. So in order to get to the back bolts, I have to basically unbolt the seat from the rail, tilt it up, loosen the back, push it over, tighten it all back down, and there is basically no room to get into these bolts. Like, I don't even know if I can show them on camera where they are. They're down there and you can't really, like, I can touch them, but it's not really fun. So anyways, I think first thing it's gonna suck the most is gonna be cutting that part of the cage. Sorry, Colton, but what's gotta be done, gotta be done. So I'm gonna take the roof off to get better access to it, take the seat rail out, modify the seat rail, profit, hopefully. So I guess let's get after it. That was ridiculous. All right, it's later in the day. I haven't updated it because I've been fighting this thing to no end, but I finally did get the passenger seat in. That was a bear and a half. I was able to take the driver's seat and adjust it. I even had to put the, I guess, right side, the transmission tunnel side. I put that one hole forward to try to twist the seat. So it is now noticeably better. This is about where the old one used to be, so you just had to give it a little bit of a shove and then it more or less locks the seat in. Not ideal, but Miatas are small cars. I guess all that's left now is I gotta throw the roof back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Next up for the next video will be driving on the mountain. So I got an opportunity to go drive the Drift Appalachia Toge event. So that's coming up. I think we're leaving Thursday night, so it'll be Friday and Saturday up on the mountains. So hopefully it goes pretty well and it's gonna be pretty sick. I haven't been to one, I went to the very first one and it was a super good time, but I didn't have any of the safety requirements to go do it again, since it was, yeah, you definitely wanna have all your safety gear in place for that one. So now that we have good old cage, Hans device, stuff like that, we're all set up, so guess I'll see y'all on the mountain. Ready to hit it with some fabric paint. Hopefully I'll be able to really cup.